You're staring at a slide packed with text, charts, and bullet points. You start copying as fast as you can, but before you finish the first paragraph, the slide changes. Transcribing a slide word for word locks your brain into dictation mode. By focusing on the text, you stop hearing the lecturer's explanation of what those words actually mean. We can fix this by changing how we look at the screen. We are going to use the maps, diagrams, and graphs provided in the presentation to shortcut our note-taking. This requires a shift in your approach. Success in a lecture depends on your ability to process the information as an active interpreter. Once you know how to decode visual information, those overwhelming slides become a strategic roadmap that guides your focus. Step 1 happens before the speaker begins. If you have access to the presentation file, or if the lecturer previews their slides, scan through them. The sequence of those slides reveals the structure of the talk. A title or aim slide establishes the topic. A geographic map sets the physical context, and a line graph signals a deep dive into the data. Use this sequence to set up your page early. Write down your main headers based on those visuals so your framework is ready before the lecture starts. Let's make this actionable. Before the next lecture begins, write down 3 to 4 bullet points predicting the core themes, relying completely on the images you just scanned. Mapping out the structure in advance primes your brain. During the actual lecture, you will spend your time filling in gaps rather than building a framework from scratch. Now that the lecture is running, you need to track how the speaker navigates complex visuals. Listen closely for directional language. Lecturers use specific prepositions to guide your eyes. They will say things like, "The old airport is situated in the northeast," or "The passenger terminal is near the top of the slide." Avoid drawing the entire map. Instead, write down the phrase northeast and attach the key concept, the old airport, right next to it. You should also watch for physical gestures. If the lecturer steps away from the podium and physically points at a specific section of the slide, that is a direct cue to take a note. Tracking this directional language links spatial data to the speaker's main points. You capture where the important information is located without needing to sketch the visual yourself. When a new graphic appears, ask yourself a critical question. Is this image here for background context, or is the lecturer using it as evidence to prove a specific point? This line graph shows an acculturation curve. Lecturers present data like this to analyze trends, such as the severe dip in Phase 2, labeled culture shock. Many students make the mistake of only copying the labels on the axes. However, the lecturer included this visual to explain the specific reasons behind those peaks and valleys. Here is your rule for data visuals. When the graph shows a sudden change, stop looking at the screen and listen strictly for the reason the lecturer gives for that drop. That reason belongs in your notes. Understanding the visual's underlying purpose helps you capture the lecturer's specific argument. Your notes become a record of analytical insights instead of raw data points. If the slide on screen is comparing 2 products or showing a cycle, standard bullet points will make the information harder to understand when you review it later. Instead, match your notes to the logic of the slide. If the lecturer is comparing product A and product B, draw a Venn diagram. Put the shared features in the overlapping center and the unique traits on the outside. This structured format replaces a disorganized block of text with clean, relational data that you can read at a glance. You can apply this to other structures as well. If the slide displays a multi-step process, use diagrammatic notes. Write keywords inside boxes and connect them with arrows to show the sequence of events. Mirroring the presentation's visual logic on your page builds a study guide that aligns with how the information was originally taught. This is our final product. We have a clear header predicting the topic, directional notes mapping out locations, an explanation of the graph's dip, and a comparative Venn diagram. Compare this organized, actionable page to the frantic, half-finished transcription of a dense slide from the start of the lesson. For your next class, download the slide deck in advance. Scan the images and prepare at least one diagrammatic note template before the lecturer even starts. You have transformed your process from passive transcription to active interpretation. The real value of a lecture is the speaker's unique perspective on the material. Utilizing visual hacks is the most efficient way to capture that perspective.